pending items, and then we have the room database. And for the background tasks, we are using work manager, and for the camera and QR code purposes, we are using the camera X and C. And then for application, we are using the model architecture. Here in the view layer or the user interface layer, we have store all the user interfaces, because using MVVM architecture, we can maintain clean and maintainable code base. If we have a encountered any bugs, we can fix them depend on what layer they are going. And then we have the view model layer, and finally we have the model layer. And then for our project, for our development methodology, we are using agile methodology. We divided our entire time period into 7 sprints. In sprint 1, the initial sprint, we identified and categorized, analyzed the requirements, and then based on those requirements, we created the user stories, and the user stories are being added into the 7 sprints, depend on the dependencies. And then in initial sprint, we set up the Firebase, and then we designed the data models and database schemas, and also we set up our GitHub repository. And starting from the sprint 2, we started the development, designing the main, the initial user interface, like the login and register page, and then the splash screen, and subsequently all the other sprint 3, sprint 4, 5, 6, 7, we design our user interfaces and develop the application. Each sprint we did unit testing and finalize each sprint before going into the next sprint. And next part will be explained by my team.
My student ID is 2577509. So let's talk about the user role and transaction flow. In our system, there are mainly two kinds of users. One is lender and one is borrower. The functions of lender is to add all the items that he has, and generate QR code for those items, and finalize the price item that they want to charge to borrower while they borrow their items. And the second is borrower user, where when the borrower register in our system, automatically 1 lakh Korean won is accounted in his account as dummy credit, so that he can do the transaction with the lender. For that, the borrower scans the items QR code generated by the lender. After that, successfully the transaction is completed between them, and the price of that item is deviated from borrower and credited into lender account. And after that, the borrower can request for return. When the item is requested, the lender can either accept the item or can report damage. So these are our application UI designs. First, when the application is opened, our splash screen is displaying the title of our application. After here, we can see login page and register page. In register page, you can clearly share a feature where the user's location is automatically fetched, so that the lender and borrower can know their location while doing the item change. So after that, we enter into the lender dashboard, where there are mainly two parts. One is available parts, where the lender can list all the items he you want to lend, and the another is lend tab, where he can view all the items that he has lended, so he can track all the lend items. After that, we have add item section, where the lender can successfully add item, writing its name, category, price and description of the item. When the item is created, in the details page of that item, you can see a button which when clicked successfully generates a QR code. While adding the item, you can see here general category part. In this category part, you can directly add category from here while adding the item, or either you can go into the manage category section, where the lender can either add, edit or delete the category. Any category that has item under it cannot be edited or deleted. And after that, here is a monitor part. When the borrower successfully lends the item, here a button is generated, which when clicked, a lender can send a reminder notification to the borrower, so that the borrower do not forget the deadline of the item and is not get penalty for delay. And after that, when the borrower sends a return request, in the lender side you can see a accept return or report damage part is shown here. After our previous presentation, we have added new feature, report damage, where the lender can report damage if the borrower gives the lender item damaged. Here a form is shown, where the lender can make a damage report. After that, he can either view or send the damage report to the borrower. This is the borrower part. In borrower part also there are two parts, where the first part is active borrow, means all the borrows he have made till now is shown in this part, and another is available to borrow. All the items that have added by all the lenders in our system is listed here, so that the borrower can see any the items he want to borrow is available or not. And here the item detail page, where the borrower can request return of the item that he has borrowed. After the item return request has made, he cannot make the request again, as the button is not accessible after that. Here, when the borrower scans the QR code of the item, a confirmation box appears, where all the items, item name, image, lender name, price and deadline is mentioned. After that is a borrow dashboard, where the borrower dashboard view damage report part, where the borrower can view the damage report that is sent by the lender. And in the report, you can see two options: pay the damage charge, and if you do not have the enough fund to pay the damage charge, you can also request negotiation, where you can request with the lender, either the damage is made by you, or it is already the product was already damaged, or also you can talk about the price of the damage charge. After that, there are lender, borrower and history. For this part, I would like to call my friend.
Good morning, Professor, and everyone present here. My name is Surya Singh Kakichatri. My student ID is 2577511. Now I am going to present on the topic of lender borrower history. Here, in this slides, credit history, lender the credit history. We can see the lender credit history, borrower credit history. Where we can see the lender credit history. Here the okay, and then the borrower credit history. We can see the payment history, and then the borrower history, and then the lender history. Altogether, the lender borrower history are shown in this lender damage history. Lender damage history notification over the lender damage history. In this way, the trust and the communication between lender and browser will be good, and the disputes will be fair. And here we can see that all the items are damaged. These are the history, and the notifications maintain the good relations between browser and lender. And next slide. Here we can see the deadline check occur every 1 hour, which is all active browser record from room database. If the 24 hours remain, sends one push notifications, and the return reminder 24 hours late will be seen. If more than 10 hours remain, and sends notifications every hour, and the 9 hour left, 8 hour late. In this way, the notifications will appear. And then the penalty will occur every 24 hours. The fine all overdue records, and deduct this amount 5,000 won from the borrower wallet. Credit 5,000 won to lender wallet, and then the right entry to lender credit history and borrower payment history. And in this way, the same push notification to borrower. Okay, thank you so much, and I would like to hand over to my friend.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jason Alimogor, and my ID is 25750. Next slide. So, here, this is our VR diagram for our database design. And when the user are connected to this wallet system, and then the items are system financial logs and lending and borrowing history and this reports on everything. Where next, we have also done our testing and bug fix after emulating on our devices. And we have tested with unique creating jobs with the usernames and next step, best, auto logins, and registration. The best size one for those video, and then also and the generated QR code are also performed in this testing session. So on our Google Play Store, we haven't published our application on the Play Store yet, and we are still in the process of it. So the processes on uploading these into a Google Play Store, we need to have a console creation account on Google Play Store, and after that we need to upload our Android application into this Play Store, and also checking on these policies of these Korean government into this application. The Korean mainly focuses on the privacy logs and what we call it on our datasets from these users that are logged into our application. And on such policies, we are only collecting their email addresses on our databases, and also their images that they upload for their lending and borrowing sessions. So after that, the sessions is over. Our database is disposed of those sessions, of those collected data, except for these email addresses that are logged into our application. Unless they delete everything on their account. So the next slide is our monetization models, which is our second revenue stream. On the first one, we have a transaction fee on which is chipped off of 3 to 5% on each borrower. That is auto deducted from the lender. And there is a premium subscription on our lending application, which is a Pro, which is 4900 per month with unlimited listings and analytics. And there is a damage insurance, 500 to 2001 for period covers verified damages that might be on the lending and borrowing section. And its security deposit 20% are refundable. Deposit high value items like 50,000 and 50,000 million. And there's a feature listing with 1,000 to 5,000 reduced items in various percentages, which will be in the top section after the item is being displayed in this application. And this credit cover for 10,000 loans for 1,000 credit by start of pay or stretch. And finally, there is a business to business categories and model. This is a 50,000 for one for universities and language firms. So our complete feature summary is authentication on our application using email and password sign-up logins and username unique checks. There's a lender features, added items with camera, apps, photo, and QR generation for items. There's a borrower feature, sending QR codes borrowing items from the available item list and requesting return flow and damage registration. And there's a wallet credits, lender stocks with 0 credits and borrower with 100,000 credits. And individual wallets are not shared. And there's a background branch with control our background reminder and our program. Notification including push DFCM, in-app notification string and penalty warning. And for our future improvements, the real payment gateway is to block our pay outside for installment based on monetary transaction. And in-app setting application, direct messaging with us phone numbers. There's an item rating system which helps lender or borrower to identify the legitimate behind his transactions. And map-based discovery, Google Maps for new items. And there's insurance always multi-language AI item and security deposit for the future improvements. And this is our answer for the applications. The amount of time it took is relevant for every piece of our.
This is our landing page. So you can see all the basic part of our system, how it works, what kind of items do you need
तपाईँको यो छ तपाईँको reason@email.com reason 12. So here we are let's create an account first. So here we have a feature that automatically fetches our location and then places it in our system. And here we have two options, lender and borrower. Either you can register as lender or the borrower. For now, let's register as borrower. So when the registration completes, the user gets redirected to login page. So now let's use the account credentials we just created. So here you can see successfully a borrower account is created, and
this is our
the lender account. So
where we can add
add
our items with this one, including item.
currently the item is not listed here, but as soon as the item gets registered there, it can be seen in the browse part.
And as we have listed our items,
So it gets listed.
so
Now
there's a listing.
it can be seen in the borrower side also, available to borrow, where you can view the item details and scan the QR code.
There's a QR code generation, and
So as soon as the QR code generated is scanned, the borrow gets completed.
Okay, let's give them a big round of applause because they have demonstrated their work, not just as a code, but also as a working model from their computers. Let's again give them a big round of applause because they deserve that. And last time, Rana Yogal asked you about the KYC verification.
Still, in the authentication part, we are there because of time, and we have decided to continue the project and add more authentication and different other features in our system.
Okay. Also, Bukhari Suhan last time asked you about how did you generate the QR code?
we use things building library from
Yes, you have already shown that.
Exactly.
We have used the library.
Okay. And I was about to ask how that scanning is being done, but you demonstrate the people have to
Yes.
meet each other so that they scan complete the transaction.
So that connection and proof
is there.
And this testing that you guys have done, is it now connected to Firebase database?
Yes.
The database is
Can
Firebase.
store the data.
Is it free or?
Is it yes, Professor. We are using the Spark client for that. We can see there you can see the account I have just created is also listed here. And yes, and storage part also.
And one more thing, you have shown ER diagram, but in Firebase it is a key value database. How did you model that?
We have just modeled that so that we can explain about the database design.
And physically?
Firebase is like NoSQL. It's not a relational database.
So how did you make this? You made an ER
explain on database.
We made it by our own idea, linking the different entities. So you can see here that the items just we have added is now visible in the Firebase.
Okay, thank you so much. And your